she declined because she was engaged in a better job. Why? Yes, she's qualified, but she's visible. Sometimes just elevating yourself from the crowd and just being visible can be more than the PhD you are pursuing, I can guarantee you. Bwana Jage, on education, how to ensure, okay, it was more or less about education. And I think I'll also answer it hapo mwisho, nikiongea story ya manufacturing. Bwana Kanyago, Moses, story ya employment. The reason why people always, when they look for jobs through us. Because I get that a lot, and it should communicate to me as a leader also. I may not have all the jobs to give, but it communicates to me that everywhere I go, somebody is asking me that they want a job. One is because when something is scarce, it becomes very competitive to get it. And then the biggest tragedy that has come into our system is something called patronage. That nowadays you can see a leader starting with a microphone in a school and he's saying, employ those teachers into permanent and pensionable terms tomorrow. What comes to the mind of that other teacher in Turkana who knows no one? And then what is TSC for? See, we disbanded then. So that is, it's emblematic, first of all, of the scarcity of jobs. But more importantly, that a person believes the bridge to that job is this person who holds power. I think even as we thought about patronage, the bigger responsibility we have is to expand the opportunities. So that, ukienda US or UK, for example, you are choosing a job. Do I report to this one or this other one? Because there is abundance. So there is some work to do there, which is also tied up to manufacturing. I am going to finish. Bwana Osomo, thank you very much again for the compliments. Stock market, next year what to do. I think I answered. The issue is, there is no defined path. You know, to do an economic trajectory of anything, you take some period of time to make deductions. In Kenya, it's not expressed that when you have elections, that we have a bear market. It's not expressed. Always hold on to value. Where politically, I am here.
Are you one term or two term?
I am here in the river. As I said again, I don't want to be academic. Look at it this way, guys. So, 3 years ago, if you were asked to describe me, what was coming to your mind first? Hata umesema. Exactly. Very good. You would associate me with the group or the team I am associated with. Is it? Take any person on the other side. You also don't struggle to define them there. That is one thing we have to also know as Kenyans, that it's good we know our leaders first for who they are before they join in with anyone. First, understand, if, for example, you have a choir here of ACK Kitengela, and you have another choir of Catholic Church Kitengela, and there is a very good singer there with a bass or alto or whatever, then when you are asked, yule anaitagwa nani, unasema ni, sile ni yule the lady wa, yes. Ukiulizwa that young man with a bass, utasema, si ni yule mtu wa bass wa. You see what I mean? Yet, that person, they have their own identity. As a person who, they have their own base, they put in into that choir. So I have had that privilege and I'm grateful. It came unplanned. That I have had a chance also to be me. Being you is important. And I wish that all other leaders can be subjected into that. That before they are bowed up into a team, let's first know, are they a striker? Is it a defender? Is it a goalkeeper? Who is that person? The other thing, as I go to the finish, Motoma asked a very good question. And because I've answered most of them in the previous questions, I'll come into where you asked about. Is it about these leaders or about us as Kenyans? There is something around there. What I've seen nations evolve. To be the nation that we are in as Kenya. Remember when you talk about a country, my brother. What is a country? Country is just boundaries. There's another. When we talk about Kenya as a country, it's just about our boundaries. After that, there is something we call a state. A state is the machinery of government, the machinery of the state structures, where we have now this ministry, this, that. There is also government. There is a republic, but there is a nation. A nation communicates what? A nation communicates identity. When you talk about, when we go to Uhuru Park or Nyayo, when you are having national celebrations, you hear the head of state is called the President of the Republic of. The Republic is self-determination. Self-determination is, we are a republic. I mean, ni sisi tunajilid. That's the republic. When you talk about the nation, and that's why you realize when you come to government state, the president, the deputy work and the deputy president. Do you ask yourself, when it comes to the nation, the title of the president is the father of the nation. Who is the deputy of the father of the nation? It is the first lady. It's the mother of the nation. Why is that so? Because that is first of all detached from the instruments of. It is now about the people and how the people relate with each other. So what lacks most in Kenya is that we have nations within the nation. That even as we meet in the Nairobi now to talk about the nation of Kenya, we have first of all met in our conclaves as the nation of this tribe, the nation of this tribe, and that way. When you go to, for example, Nigeria is not a nation. Because north and south, the disparity is so huge that it can't pass the test of called a nation. A nation is when you have shared values, homogeneity, either in language or in culture. In Kenya, the reason why we brought about Kiswahili as our national language is again, you see, we never said Kiswahili of the Republic of Kenya. We talk about the national language. National is nation. It was supposed to bring us together, to come for me forgetting my mother tongue and her forgetting her mother tongue. So when we meet in Nairobi, I try to talk to her in my mother tongue, she can't understand. That is what it was supposed to be. Or even if she can understand, this Kiswahili comes first and my mother tongue comes second. That is where our biggest problem is. And that is where politics exploits. Look, for example, in 2024, the nation of Kenya, in terms of the people who came out, was a total nation of Kenya. But when politicians noticed, the nation, when it is united, changes can happen, they went back into conclaves. So they called in tribal chiefs, went into a table, shared power, actually did worse the grievances that were there in 2024. Now Kenya is in a worse state than then. That the same office people were to march on that Thursday now has four times budget, and they are telling you, you do what you can do. Tumeugana sisi. Nani wameugana ni nyinyi? Are you getting what I'm saying? So that is a big tragedy that, yes, nations evolve, but I wish we can fast track that evolution. There was Bwana Wilson, eh? When are you running? Yes. When are we run? Anyway, thank you very much, our senior. I have heard you, but politics, what I've learned, before you say something, think about it well, plan well, don't take your supporters for granted. So when you are actually saying something, say it and do it. And when that time is there, we leave everything to the Almighty. Kanyotu, unajua ukiitwa Kanyotu tunakuogopa. But he asked a very, very important, in fact, I actually thought that is the topic I would be invited to talk about. Iran. What do we see in Kenya and what are the opportunities? Let me tell you here today. Iran. What is happening in Iran is more than 200 rallies we can do in Kenya. Politically, what is happening in Iran has a big